Hello, everyone. Let's start with the introduction. I hope you can hear me all. So today we want to learn more about Nuxt and Nuxt content. So I prepared the boilerplate for us. Yeah, it's a typical blog page. Here you can see we have some blog posts written down. And then if I click on one, yeah, see we have some syntax highlighting and so on. But the special thing for today's workshop is that we will implement all these different ways to search. We have the keyword search, the fuzzy, semantic, and hybrid. And the first exercise is, if you search for keyword like view, you'll see that we get a result back. If I search for Nuxt, you'll see that, we get Nuxt back. So you have to implement the logic. You don't have to implement the UI. Then we have fuzzy search. If I search for Nuxt, this works. But also if I have a typo, we still get a result back. These are the first two exercises. Then the hardest exercise is implementing semantic search. So now if I search for something like server-side rendering, which is not part of the blog post itself, we will use the help of vector embeddings and cosine similarity to find out which blog post we want to use. Then the last exercise is then to combine fuzzy and semantic search. Then when we search, for example, for view, we then get both fuzzy and semantic search back. And with an algorithm, we merge the best results out of that. This is our exercises. Also, because I'm a fan of shortcuts, I implemented here some shortcuts where I can navigate through the blog post. And also, one cool feature, I think, is because we use Nuxt content is using SQLite in the end. So we define our markdown files. So here we have, for example, a markdown file on blog post about cats, because everyone likes cats. And then we render that. And what Nuxt content will do for us is it will convert all these markdown files into SQLite, which are both available under the backend and also under the client with the help of WebAssembly. So, and here we have some example queries, and we can see how the SQLite database looks. So this helps a little bit, I hope, to understand how the database is structured. We can see here, for example, all the tables and so on. And also, if you have implemented the embeddings logic, there is a query where in the end, we see which blog posts are similar and which are completely different. Yeah. So the one about cats is not related to your search composable. Then let's talk about the exercises. So as I said, I added some utilities for you. The cosine similarity is needed for the third exercise. I will just call it rank fusion because I can't spell it. This is needed for the last exercise, for the hybrid search. And for the other two exercises, I would recommend you to check out how Nuxt, the content config works. Yeah, so if you have no idea about Nuxt content or Nuxt, then it's also fine if you start with the first exercises. If you're already more experienced and you understand Nuxt and Nuxt content, you can also start with the last, with the semantic search exercise. And here, we have defined our blog posts and so on. So if you have no idea about Nuxt content, you can read the documentation. What you can also do is if you use, I don't know, cursor AI or anything, this is the full documentation from Nuxt content. You could also just copy paste it and ask questions. Yeah, this is also one way, I think, to learn something. And yeah, then we have the search page. So this is the solution branch. We have the search page. And there in the end, for each exercise, we have to implement the keyword search logic, the fuzzy search logic, semantic search, and the hybrid search. And then in the end, we have here some logic that if the user toggles between them, that we use the different search logic. Yeah. This is how I decided to do that. On the main branch, there is already one composable in place. It's just called use dummy search. So you see here that we have some hard-coded array, and then we will filter it. But for the other exercises, we want to use the SQLite database. And if you open the slug block, so it's under pages, block, slug, this is the component where we will render our block. Here you see what is useful for the first exercise when you have no idea about Nuxt or Nuxt content, that we also need to do something like that. But in addition, we also need to query for something. So yeah. Then the last tip that I have for you is for the semantic search logic. There is a script when you execute npm run embedding that will do semantic search in a simple way. So you see here, our query is what is a panda? And you see we get results back. And if you want to, for the semantic search exercise, as a tip, look how this is implemented. Try to understand the simple script where we use Transformer.js and the open model. And if you understand that, now the tricky part is to think how on Nuxt content we can add vector embeddings into SQLite database. So this is, I think, the tricky part. And yeah. Yeah, this was everything. I will be in the Discord if you have any questions. And yeah, think of which exercise you want to start. And yeah, I hope we all learn something.